Welcome to the Level Up Life podcast. I'm your host, Scottie Hobbs, and today we're going to have a conversation with Tyler Kelly. Tyler had a shift happen in his life when he realized he could take personal training online. He got a coach and in the first month earned $5,000, double what he made as a trainer. 7 years later, he is thriving and continues growing his business and brand, Instashred. Tyler, welcome to the show. All right, what's up, my friends? I'm here with my good friend, Tyler. Tyler, I'm excited to have you on here today, have a conversation with you. But first and foremost, can you just tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Yeah, Scotty, thank you in advance for having me on. Much appreciated.
Yes,
You're
sir.
a heavy hitter in what you do, and I'm honored to be a part. Yeah, I have an online fitness coaching business. I was a personal trainer for 8 years. That was my one and only job. Freaking loved what I did, but I saw the opportunity online, and I'm like, you know what? This internet thing ain't going anywhere. I'm gonna go do that. And that was 6 years ago, and so I've never turned back. I love every day, every minute of it. And the brand is Instashred. So we're a bespoke health and wellness company.
That's absolutely awesome. So, did you say that was 6 years ago you jumped in the online space with that?
Yeah, 6 years ago.
And did I hear you say it's your only job you've ever had was personal training?
Yes, sir.
So, okay, that's awesome. So, first of
Yeah.
all, Tyler, I don't even know how old you are. I should know this. How old are you?
I'm 31.
31. Absolutely
Yeah. How
incredible.
about you? I'm gonna ask you now.
I'm 43. I'll be 44 this year.
Okay, you got a little more wisdom
A
on
li-
me.
little more little less hair is what it is.
Hey, I didn't say that. You did.
I did say that, yeah, but that started happening when I was like 23 or 4, so
Oh,
it's not
wow.
that. So your first job was personal training. How did you get that job, or what made you want to do that as your first job?
Yeah, I was lost all through high school, man. I had no work ethic. I had no drive. I was honestly a weenie. I was 125 pounds soaking wet. I quit football because I hated the two-a-days. I ended up taking up golf. I was in wrestling when I was on the JV team. I sucked ass. And there was this one day where I saw a bodybuilding magazine and I had just joined the weightlifting class in gym because I didn't want to do traditional PT. And something just clicked. I was like, you know what? I want to finally apply myself in life for the first time. And so I just set my eyes on, I'm going to do a bodybuilding competition. I'm going to try and get my body in the best physical condition possible and just see if I can see it through.
Yeah,
And I did. It
that's
was as simple as that, man. So that got me into the fitness industry. The more I began to understand the human body and food and how it's broken down, I grew a little bit of an obsession. And, I did pretty well at my first bodybuilding show. I think it gave me a sense of confidence for one of the first times in my life. And so that set me on this journey of fitness.
the path to where you're at now. So that gym class you got into, the weightlifting class,
Yeah.
that was in high school. Is that
Yeah.
what you heard? And so you made that decision. I'm going to do a bodybuilding competition.
Yeah.
How long from when you made that decision until you stepped on that stage for the first time?
I think it was 6 months.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
pretty quick.
Yeah, yeah. There was a coach down in Champaign, Urbana, Illinois, that was nice enough to coach me for free. So thankfully, I had some guidance and I learned a lot through that. And that helped me properly prep for my first ever bodybuilding show.
That's
Uh,
awesome.
cool experience. Yeah.
Is
In the beginning, though, I think back, like in the gym class, I was doing chest 3 days a week. I didn't know what the heck I was doing right when I started. I was like Monday, Wednesday, Friday was weight training class, and you're doing like upper chest Monday, middle chest Wednesday. You didn't know what the heck you're doing.
Yeah.
So you
I
definitely
think that's
evolved
good that
over
we
time.
address that because, my audience, I have, high school kids and I have people all the way through your age up into my age that, just want to learn from people that are
Yeah.
doing
Love
things
that.
successful, whether they're elite athletes or have their own business.
Yeah.
That's funny you say that though, because I had a bench in my backyard when I was younger
Okay.
and all I did was chest and biceps. So I have like awesome biceps and good chest, but that led me to like all the issues of having not as strong as a back as I needed and
Mm.
rolling forward of the shoulders from my chest. So if you're getting into working out, find somebody that has some expertise to get you balanced and doing it in the right way.
Always, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I've had a coach in every area of my life, and I've realized every single time I've pushed myself and said, you know what, I'm going to get help in this new area that I'm trying to learn about. I've never regretted it. So for anyone listening, and I'm sure you can attest to this, get yourself a coach. You can fast track yourself so much more than going through all that trial and error.
Yeah. Instead of learning it all on your own.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So when did you become a personal trainer then?
What was I?
Or-
18, right around the time I met my wife, which was 13 years ago.
Okay.
So yeah, I think I was 18 years old. So
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And so did you go through a some sort of certification? Were you in like a big gym, or did you do it kind of on your own in a smaller place? What did that look like? What did that start of that journey look like for you?
Yeah, so I am ISSA certified nutrition coach and fitness specialist. And then um man, thinking on it, the facility I worked for is now not a thing. So they had 46 locations up until 7 years ago, and just the competitive nature of the gym industry put them out, with Planet Fitness and Anytime Fitness. The whole chain in the Midwest here is now gone. Isn't that kind of crazy?
That is kind of crazy. Sometimes I get some slack and some hate of like, why are you building another business like you're doing in direct sales? Like it could be taken away from you. And I'm like, man,
Yeah.
I've seen just so many things. Like you could lose a job, you could lose anything. It's more about the skills that you learn, the relationships that you build.
Yeah, man.
Nothing
Yeah.
is nothing is guaranteed in life.
Oh, dude, there's always risks associated too. And I mean, look at your life. I'll give you some kudos. You're a humble man, but like you built a great life for yourself, for your family. You love what you do. You're full of energy. You wake up loving what you do every day. But like you've chosen a path that's, I'd say, brought more for yourself and your family than most have accomplished. And that's because you've been willing to do things that many others are not willing to do. The path of security is a lot easier, right? We can go to work, we can clock in, and we know we're going to get that paycheck every 2 weeks, but you're going to get paid according to what you can do. What you're doing is something that has a lot of uncertainty, and people don't like that.
Yeah. Yeah. But I'm the kind I like that. It makes my life more exciting.
Same, man. It gives us, yes. I wake up every day like, man, what is today going to bring? It might be a shitty day at the end of the day, but I'm going to be smiling through it.
Yeah. And I think it's a great outlet being an entrepreneur, whatever it is. Like you have your own online health like coaching, fitness coaching, but you get to be creative in that space. You're not constrained to anyone's rules really, other than what you thinking like, okay, what can I, Tyler, do to best help my clients today?
Yeah.
Right.
No, so well said. I love that, man. I think that was in year one. I'll never forget. It was the coolest feeling being able to wake up and you had an idea the night before and you put it in the notes section of your phone and you get to wake up the next day and implement it.
Yeah.
Like, what corporation as an employee do you get to do that?
Yeah.
You got to run it through the higher chain and talk to your manager, and they got to run it by corporate, and usually you get shut down because it's just too big. But when you're self-employed, it's like, man, I can start on that tomorrow. I can start right now.
Yeah. It's a beautiful thing. Like right now, I'm working on a thing in my business, and it was literally like 3 days ago. I was like, "Hey, we should do this thing." With some of my partners, like, "Yeah, we should." And it was like the next day. All I wanted to do when I got up, like, I pushed everything back on my schedule, and I spent like 4 hours, like 2 days in a row, just creating it, getting it all
Mm.
organized in a Google Doc, creating a video series like of 10 videos, and
Wow.
it's exciting to like do that. And I think that takes a special person. Or a lot of people out there like they have this creativeness in them, like you did when you wanted to create your thing.
Yeah.
They just don't know where to put that energy in that time. And finding a business with something you're passionate in,
Yeah.
the thing
Yeah.
like what you've done. So tell me about so you were, when you're a personal trainer, probably a little bit more secure than what you did when you went out on your own in the online space.
I would say so. Yeah.
So tell me about your first year. Like I know it was exciting, like that first day. Like you have this idea, you can go out and do something incredible. But tell me about the first year.
Yeah. Man, a lot of emotions there. It's bittersweet right now because the initial mentor that I hired, he was helping in-person trainers take their business online. And I'll never forget sitting in the back office of the personal training facility. I saw this online and something came over me. I went home and I told my mom, I lived at home at the time, man, there's this live event in New York and they're showing people how to go from personal training to an online business. I think I'm gonna go. She's like, what? You never traveled on your own. This isn't like you, blah, blah, blah. But I went and I was in a room of like-minded individuals that saw something greater for themselves like me. And so I hired him. And unfortunately, he passed away 4 months ago unexpectedly. He was 44 years old, so that was super tragic. But the first year, to answer your question, was incredible. Honestly, let's even scale it back more. The first month, I followed the process, did everything he said. There was a checklist, a 10x checklist. I was checking it all off, man. I was posting organically for the first time ever. I was horrible at it. I was second guessing myself. 40 takes per video. We've all probably been there, right? And dude, the first month, I'll never forget, I made $5,000 in online fitness coaching, which was being transparent. about double what I was making as a personal trainer. And I was just like mind blown. I'm like, there's no freaking way. And it just like lit a fire in me. I'm like, I can totally see myself doing this. Like, this is where I'm meant to be. And so, literally, I stopped taking on any new clients in person. I told the facility, said, hey, I want to finish out the people I got, take care of them, but I'm not going to take on any new people. I've got this new venture.
Yeah.
And that was it, man. Like, the first year was so much fun, just learning the ways of the online world and building out funnels and, putting out offers for people and interacting in the online world. It was a blast. So that
Yeah.
was my first year.
That's the way I look at business, man. I'm just like, it's just so fun,
Hmm.
like to be creative and learn all of those new things.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about, you said you made, just being fully transparent, double what you made as a personal trainer in the online space in your first month.
Yeah. My first month, and I remember it like yesterday. It was probably one of the best financial feelings I ever had in my life because I did it on my own. I was so young, and it's like, wow, I created this on my own. No
Yeah.
one paid me this but myself, you know?
Yeah. You got to create your own value in a
There you
way,
go.
starting that. And you've done that continuing over the past 7 years. We can get into some of that as we continue on this conversation. But I'm just thinking like there's so many people out there I know, and I have two teenage daughters that have their first jobs. One of them works two jobs, and
Mm,
like, hey, I'm going to switch over to this job, and I can go from this amount to that amount per hour. And a
okay.
lot of people, and and I want them to have their own business someday, but I want them to work right now too and know what it's like to learn discipline and have a job and show up and be accountable and have someone make sure, teach them to work hard in that
I
space.
love that. I love it.
Because I had a job starting super young as well, and it taught me a lot. But a lot of people are stuck in that. They might start at 15 or 16, like maybe you or I did, and they're 40 or
Hmm.
35 or 55, and have no idea that you could go find something that you're passionate about and learn how to build a business out of it,
Hmm.
like you did.
Yeah.
What did it do for you when you saw that 5,000 come in? Because I know it wasn't about $5,000. It wasn't like, oh, I can go buy this car I've been thinking about. I know it
Yeah.
did something bigger for you on the inside. What did it do when you saw that you were capable of that?
Yeah, I think two things come to mind. One, it gave me a sense of purpose. Like it really was the first time outside of bodybuilding where it was like, wow, I feel like I have a grip on something, and I'm not second guessing myself or being all insecure. I just kept taking action because I'm like, this is awesome. I feel great. Like people are looking at what I'm posting and they're encouraging me. Like I felt like people were behind me, you know? And then I've always naturally been a good person. What it allowed me to do is something because when my income kind of went up that drastically, I had more money than I knew what to do with in my eyes. And so naturally, as a giver, I just started doing more things that were outside of myself. And I was no longer self-fulfilling and just trying to stay alive and pay bills and me, 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 me. It was now like, oh, what can I do for my parents for all the things they've done? And oh, I've got this girlfriend. Like, how can I maybe make this weekend a little extra special? And those thoughts started to come alive because I wasn't just like trying to survive. I was starting to thrive.
Yeah. That could be a whole hour-long conversation about
Yeah.
money, and
Yeah. I can't believe I just rhymed. Did you hear? That was kind of good,
that was
Scott.
pretty good. You might have another career coming up.
It's not like me.
Let me pop out the guitar here, and let's see if
Yeah.
we can freestyle this.
Right.
No, that's beautiful. Thinking outside of yourself, it helped you realize that.
Yeah.
It's just thinking back. I was having this conversation with someone the other day. Like I just remember everything. I used to count everything, like count every minute. Even when I would drive from Idaho to Utah, I would like count every mile and the time it would take to
Mm,
complete 1 mile, and if I could shave
wow.
off like 5 minutes. And I was like, why did I do that? Because I don't do that anymore. I don't care how long it takes me to get somewhere. I don't care, any of those things.
Yeah.
I'd go to bed and I'd be like, okay, I got 4 hours and 53 minutes to sleep. Like I would count everything. But it was because I
Wow.
was just trying to survive, and I needed to count every minute and every dollar to make sure that everything lined up. And that's one thing it freed me from having a business, is just to relax and to just be more present in life and not try to rush from one thing to the next. So thank you
Mm.
for sharing that. It reminded me of that
Oh.
feeling I used to have. So thank you.
Mm.
So I'm
Yeah,
gonna
that
ask
was
you,
beautifully said, man. I love
yeah,
that.
Tyler, what are you most proud of? Like you've been working on your business for 7 years. What are you most proud of in your life?
Yeah. Wow, that's a loaded question. I think I think I'm most proud of just staying the course. Like I've always known that like Tyler, deep down you're a good person. And sometimes, like when we bought this house, or I bought something, or we splurged on a trip, or it's like there's so many of these decisions that you regret because you could have gotten further if you didn't do it. You know, you feel a little guilty, you know. Spent a little extra at dinner, you bought yourself your first pair of shoes that were brand new instead of hand-me-down. And I've looked back on every experience we've had, whether it's been with my family or my wife or things that we've done, and I've never regretted it. I'm so proud that like I'm 31 years old, and if I died today, I truly don't regret anything. Like, sure, I would never want life to stop short because I love living life, but I'm blessed to have found a good balance so far, and I hope to keep this going, of living in the moment, but also preparing for the future. And I think a lot of people miss the boat on that. They're either like not enjoying themselves because they're always afraid of like future security and they're, you know, kind of unfulfilled in the moment, or they're doing too much now and they have no future prepared. And that can ruin an individual too.
Yeah.
But having a beautiful balance of both, I feel like I rest my head on the pillow at the end of every night and I get to take calm, deep breaths because it's like, wow, we're in a good place. You know, if something tragic were to happen tomorrow, all hell doesn't break loose. We're going to be all right. You
Yeah.
know, that's a good feeling. So I'm
Yeah.
most proud of having accomplished that at 31 in a world where we're like pulled in all these directions and it's kind of chaotic at times.
Yeah. No, that's absolutely beautiful. And I think there's so many people that struggle with that, that they're just like trying to get to that next thing, that next accomplishment, that next goal, get that next thing, whatever it might be,
Yeah.
that they might miss out on being present and truly
Yeah.
enjoying life.
Great point. Wow. Yeah. Like me personally, I went through this little phase, like the first couple years of business, maybe year two and three. I started to look up to people a little too much for just being financially secure.
Mhm.
And I grew to realize like, wow, I looked up to these people in this one category. Well, and that's just one piece of life. You know, finances can enhance your life, but it's by no means your whole life. And so you look at these people's other areas of life and it's like, oh, but their relationship isn't the greatest. And oh, they don't have like a good friends circle. And oh, they're kind of an ass. Not
Yeah.
really nice. And it's like, man, I looked up to them for this one category, but it's like you listen to them in all categories. It's like, ooh, you know?
Yeah.
You kind of realize like someone might have one thing that people look up to, like, oh, they have the car I've always wanted, but that doesn't mean every area of life they've got going for them. And that's, I think, the shitty thing about social media sometimes is we can make ourselves seem such a certain way, and you really don't know how if you align with them in all the other areas of life that really matter. And that's what I respect you for. Like you're so honest and transparent, and raw with what you share. Like you undoubtedly have a great life. You've got a good balance. And I give you credit for that, my friend. And so that's why I choose to follow you and keep in touch because I'm like, man, in my opinion, Scottie's doing it right.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I see that as well. And I think so many people, they might, let's say someone has a goal, they're like, okay, I gotta get some passive income. I need to be, get into investing or buy apartments or, get all these doors or whatever it might be. And they
Yeah.
find that person or that guru that might sell a course or might have great success in that. But
Mhm.
and you were making me think about that. They could have the worst health habits possibly, or a marriage that's in shambles, or they don't care about it and don't put any effort and energy into that, and you're striving to be like that person, but it's important to find the people that have the values that you align with. So important.
Perfectly said. Yeah, health's a big one, man. I mean, I'm a little biased, but I mean, health is the number one pillar in our life. I mean, I don't care what your relationship looks like, what your business looks like, anything. If you don't have your health and you feel bad every day, you know, how great can life be?
Yeah. How much could you serve others, or
Yeah.
we love the people around you if you're just trying to get out of bed or
Man,
not be in pain all the time?
so well said.
So So you've created some pretty great success Like I watch you from afar with Instashred and your business and everything that you do. What do you think? Because you were saying you're like kind of, I can't remember the word you used, but in high school, you're like, I was just kind of lazy. I can't remember the word you used, but
Yeah.
you're, so you weren't always this hardworking, disciplined, creative person that you are today.
Yeah.
So what or who do you contribute your success to?
Mm. Yeah, I'd say it's one of my favorite quotes by Jim Rohn, the great Jim Rohn. You're the average of the five people you spend the most time with. Yeah, and I talk with my wife often about that. I think the power of influence is huge. And so in the beginning, I didn't have any great influences. And so I kind of, to make another quote, like I started to keep the door to my mind cracked. And when someone gave me a reason to really trust them I'd begin to let them in. And so I've developed this good group of like core friendships and people that I love interacting with. Or if I have like a business idea or I want to run something honest by someone, I know who I can call and get honest, unbiased feedback from. They'll put themselves in my shoes and help me make the best educated decision. And that's helped me tremendously because none of us are perfect. I don't know near anything in any field. And so I think just having those good connections in life has allowed me to always make the right decisions and not make too big of a bad decision, leaning on people. But it's
Yeah.
tough, we all have an ego and we all want to just, oh, I can figure this out on my own, or I'm just going to go with my gut. And it's like sometimes that can work totally. But being able to like run it by another set of ears that you really can confide in, oh, that's done wonders for me, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I lost a business recently, and you were making me think about my circle of friends, and I had noise coming in from every direction.
Whoa.
People trying to recruit me to their businesses, money offers, and all of these different things.
Okay.
And I just shut them out, and I just went to people that I trust in that had no what would be the word? No, they wouldn't have any gain from whatever choice I made to do with my life next that I admired and looked up to.
Yeah, no ulterior motives.
Yeah, ulterior motive. That's the word I was looking for. And one of them, he was on my pod, one of my first guests. His name's Steve Hatch. He lives here in Idaho Falls. He runs a billion
Okay.
dollar, they do a billion in revenue in real estate. And
Wow.
we're the same religion, so we have a lot of the same values.
Yeah.
And man, just chatting with him was like exactly what I needed. Just having a set of ears that was just like, because he has a beautiful relationship with God, a beautiful relationship with his wife, with his kid,
Mm.
very successful in just every aspect of life in my eyes.
Okay.
So it's just beautiful. Like for him, like I'm like stressed out. I'm like I lost a business that was making me a lot of income per year, and he's like, Scotty, he's like, how he just walked me through like how he like said it as if he was me. He's like, how blessed am I? And he was like saying it as if he were me, that
Yeah.
I've driven the same truck for the past 14 years. How blessed am I that I paid off my home, 13 years ago? How blessed am I that I've invested in real estate and paid them off? And how blessed am I? All these things he went through. He's
Wow.
like, he's like, Scotty, he's like, if you wanted right now, you and your wife could travel to some third world country or wherever you want and never do an ounce of work and just serve for a couple years
Mm.
and you will still be all right with the way that you've, ran your life and managed, the gifts that you've, been given
Yeah.
through your business over the past 15 years.
Yeah.
And just him saying that, he doesn't tell me like, here's what you should do next, or this is go do
Yeah.
this, or here's what you should do for your next business. It was just like it just cleared my mind and helped me realize like, okay, like things are gonna be like things are better than they seem in this moment that feels so dark to me. And it was from having friends like that, your circle of influence. I think it's so important to have those type of people.
Powerful.
Yeah.
Was it Mr. Hitch? You said his name?
Hatch. Yeah,
Hatch.
Mr.
Mr. Hatch.
Hatch.
Yeah, that's wise
Yep.
words, man. Wow.
So having those people around you is going to be super important.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you, so 7 years in the online space, building a business, has it
Yeah.
just been like straight uphill? Have there been challenges? Um, are there specific challenges you've had to overcome as you've grown your business?
Wow. Yeah, where do we begin? Are you being sarcastic, Scotty?
Uh, well, I'll just be straightforward because the audience here is listening and they think they're going to get into this entrepreneur space and it's just going to be like they're going to be it's just going to be this straight path to
Yeah.
awesomeness.
Yeah.
So what's the reality of building a business
Oh,
like this?
I mean, I think first things first is like the biggest reason you should get in business is because you truly love it. There's a lot of money grabs out there, but when you're not convicted to do what you're doing every day, it probably isn't going to last. Willpower only goes so far. It was nuts, man. I have a crazy example. I'm not sure if you're familiar with ClickFunnels and the owner, Russell Brunson. I was at a funnel hacking live event once. He's got a few thousand people in the audience, and he says to everyone on the stage, he's like, 90% of you here that are all amped up and ready to go home and kill it are not going to accomplish what you want. Everyone's kind of quiet, like, why the F would you say that to us? And he's
Yeah.
like, it's just statistics. He's like, if everyone in the world got what they wanted, everyone would have what they want, but they don't. There's a reason why we idolize certain things because like having a six pack is admirable because it's hard to have a six pack. So when you see one, you naturally grab it, your eyes are drawn towards it because you're like, whoa, you don't see that too often,
Uh,
right? But it's hard work to get a six pack. And so I'll never forget when you said that. It's like, man, so many people in business are not going to make it because it's just statistically true. So it's like you got to add up those small pieces of what really matters. Like, am I getting into the business for the right reason? Do I really love what I'm getting into? Am I doing it with the right people? Am I in the right place in life to take on this endeavor, or am I at a place of like pain and I just hate what I'm doing and I'm just looking for something? It's like it's a big decision. But I think at the end of the day, like you said, has there been ups and downs? Of freaking course, dude. I have hair pulling weeks, hair pulling months. And thank God for our great relationships because our wives, man, can sure as hell bring us back down to earth at times. I'm sure you can relate, especially
yeah.
with the experience you just referenced late last year. But if you're truly convicted in what you do, the bad days, the bad weeks, the bad months just don't phase you like they would if you were doing it for a reason such as money
Yeah.
or fame or clout or to get back at your family or your friends and try to prove a point, you know.
Yeah. Those things will only drive you for a short amount of time.
Yeah.
But if you want to, I saw this staircase. I don't remember all the steps, but it was like motivating things. One of them was like revenge. One of them, it had all these steps of like things that motivate people. And at
Oh,
the
okay.
very top, the top two steps were service and love.
Mm.
And
Hmm.
and it's exactly what you shared is like you have to love what you do. Like you have to have a passion,
Yeah.
love for the product or service that you're giving to people to make it through the hard times.
Yeah.
Yes,
Wow.
sir.
Yeah, man, I love that. My wife actually painted me a painting. I think it's actually become kind of a thing, but look on the
Let's see
wall
it.
right there. You see that? It's an
Oh, I love
iceberg.
that.
So underneath the iceberg, it's all these words: hard work, persistence, late nights, rejection, sacrifices, and then the top, the only word at the top of the iceberg is success. And so it's just a reminder, like, oh man, all these negative emotions and these negative feelings turn into this something beautiful, really? And it's so hard to see that from afar. Like you said, it's like you see this straight path, or so it seems for a lot of people online, this straight path of linear success. Oh, I want to get into business. I want to do that. It looks so perfect. It's like, yeah, give me a break. But we're all
Definitely,
guilty of it. We all share the highlights. Like it's so fun and easy to share the highlights because we don't want to be Debbie Downers and share the negatives, but sometimes we have to. We've got to be honest.
yeah. Yeah, man, you when you were talking, Tyler, about um Russell saying that 90% of you guys won't be here, like won't be here.
Yeah.
What did that in your mind? I know you're like, what? That's crazy. Like in your mind, what happened in your mind when you heard that? Did you
I
make
mean, you question it.
decisions? What thoughts were there?
Yeah, I'd say, I mean, that was quite a few years ago. So I wouldn't say I was like all in on my self-confidence. So I questioned it. I'm like, man, there's a lot of big dogs in here. There's some sharp-dressed men. And, I know there's some successful people in this room. So am I really in the 10% that's going to make it? Am I capable of this? Because I respect Russell and the fact that he just said that, like, makes me kind of question it. So yeah, there's moments of doubt. I mean, we're all human beings, right?
Yeah.
But then there was the other side of me where it's like, no, I'm gonna be that. Who says I can't be in the 10%? Like I'm gonna you bet your ass I'm gonna try. I'm gonna go home and try and be in that 10%. I'm not just gonna fold right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess mix some emotions.
Okay. I was just curious about that because, like, when you said that stat, I was like, and every human is different. Everybody has different beliefs and different
Sure.
reactions to things. When I hear that, I'm like, I'm gonna be one of them.
Mm,
Like that's just what like I'm gonna be the one. And I think I say that just because my whole life I've been someone that's like when I decide I want to do something, I'm like I understand I'm willing to put in the work to do that.
mm,
And I don't think I've really ever chatted about this, but I really think it came from just some lessons ingrained in in me from my mom and dad.
hmm.
Um, like my dad, so we archery hunt and we hunt. So my dad, I remember I'd be this little guy with these little legs. My dad's bigger and stronger. You know, he's probably like 30 and I'm like 10. We go on
Yeah.
these hikes. I'd have a backpack and a tent and it would seem impossible to get to where we were going when we'd be hiking.
Okay.
I just remember my dad just being like, see that next tree up there on that ridge, let's get there. And then I would
Huh.
just get there, and then we'd get there, and then he'd let me take a little break, and then he'd be like, "See that spot right there?" And then let's get there. And so he just
Huh.
taught me through example and just life experience of just to keep moving forward, and you'll get to where you want to be. And I think
Yeah.
that instilled in me. So when I hear that stat, I'm like 10%. Or you hear like Russell saying 10% of people are going to be here and 90% won't, I'll be like, I'm going to do whatever it takes to be in that 10%.
Wow.
Do you
Yeah.
think do you
That's
think you have
goosebumps.
to kind of develop that mindset? Maybe you don't have it in the beginning, but
Heck yeah, man.
successful?
Dude, yeah. Like I tell people nowadays I'm naturally introverted and they're like, no. And I'm like, dude, you should have seen me behind that trainer desk. Like I would hide in the when someone would just come into the gym just to get their workout in. They're not even looking to talk. I'd like kind of hide in the manager's office because I didn't want to start that interaction. You know, I stuttered over my words and I was just always in my head.
Yeah.
And it's definitely a skill you can acquire, you know? I mean, I need to recharge my batteries like everyone else, but it's like I would call myself extroverted now because I've forced it. I've seen the benefit of like putting myself out there and being a leader and seeing the change in other people, especially my family, dude. Like when I stepped up as a young man and like started to take control of my life, it's like the closest people in your life, they take notice, man. They
Mhm.
see what you're doing. You know, I'm sure you've seen it with your kids, but it's like the best way to lead your kids. So I've heard we don't have kids yet is to like be the example. You could tell your kids, you could beat a dead horse all day, tell them what to do, but like they're gonna see what you're doing. Like you got to lead by example. And that I loved that feeling of like, man, when I put in the work and I work hard and I do the things that people want to do, but they get a little lazy. Oh, I'll do it tomorrow. Or, oh, maybe next, something came up. And it's like, man, when I do it, they see that I've done it. Next time, they might just do it instead of procrastinate.
Yeah. That's beautiful. That's a beautiful thought.
Yeah. So, yeah, man,
Dude,
yeah,
it'll
I
be
definitely,
exciting one day to see you guys raise some kids, some little fitness athletes.
no, thanks, man. I've been hearing that from a lot of friends lately. So life's a beautiful journey. I think we joke about it a lot, but when that time comes, I know we'll look at each other and be like, yeah, we're ready.
It's
Let's
time.
go.
That's
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
We kind of threw ourselves into it. My wife, we got pregnant when she
Really?
was 19. So I'll throw my wife's age out there. She won't hate me if people
All
know.
right.
But
All
she's
right.
like she'll turn 39 and we have an 18-year-old.
Yeah,
It's
that's,
crazy.
man.
It's
Early
wild.
birds, man. That's
Oh,
cool. Wow.
it is cool. Yeah. So what do you so you've been in this business, you've had this business for 7 years. What do you love? Like what do you love about your business, about life? What's your favorite thing and what's your least favorite thing about running a business?
Yeah. Um, I'm starting with the positive.
Let's
My
go.
favorite thing my favorite thing is helping people look and feel a 10 out of 10. I think so many people establish this new normal of a 5, 6, 7 out of 10. And it's like, man, if you could only feel what waking up at a 10 out of 10 would be like, having all day energy, no midday slump, sleeping like a baby, sharp as a tack, present in all your conversations. It's such a great feeling. And it makes every day so much better the way you show up for yourself, for your significant other, to your friends. When you walk in a room, people just feel the presence. They're like, what's up with that guy? Why is he exuberating such good energy? You know? And when you feel good and you respect the body you're in and you like the person you are and you have good energy, you just show up differently. And I think a lot of people forget and they establish that new normal, you know, and some external elements are to blame. You know, our food quality is getting lower, our air, our water. So being conscious of those things obviously helps alongside any fitness journey. But when you take control of your health, so much just follows suits. As we were talking earlier, it's the number one pillar of life. So
Yeah.
that's definitely my favorite thing about what I do, no
Just
doubt.
seeing people experience that.
Hell yeah. I love handing that down. Yeah, because I embody and I feel it every day. Like I remind myself I've got to be a living example. And for me, it's kind of second nature. It's like brushing my teeth. It's like this is a part of my life.
Yeah.
But I know how I feel every day, and I want other people to experience that too.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
I have goals for my own health and fitness, but I have to exercise to keep my mind sharp, to keep myself positive. Like I'm grumpy if I don't get a good workout in and get those positive
Yeah.
endorphins.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
I just
and there's
go.
so many cool remedies nowadays, you know, like we've got red light therapy here at the home, we've got a sauna, we've got the cold plunge set up, and you know, I had sciatica. I've only had a few injuries in my life, and I'll never forget when I did research on these specific peptides. Peptides healed me like no other, you
Yeah,
know, whereas like PT and all these other doctor recommendations didn't. And so you kind of take notice of these things in the homeopathic world, and you're like, wow, there's such great alternative routes that have way less side effects. And if we're just aware of them, we could take advantage, you know, and elevate our life just that much more.
yeah. Talk to
Yeah.
me a little bit about that. Like I know 'cause you and I talked before on the phone about some of these peptides. A lot of people don't know what peptides are. So what are some of the peptides that you experienced and what did they do for you?
Yeah. So I've only got experience with two specifically, so I can only speak on those two.
Yeah,
Um, But yeah, I mean, I my sciatica journey was 9 months long. Like I was trying so much. I was doing nerve flossing, I was doing foam rolling, I was stretching. I did 3 months of PT, 3 days a week. I mean, I was taking a lot of time and effort to, you know, get back to feeling good.
yeah,
I progressed maybe 10%. So I found out about these peptides and researched and learned about angiogenesis and all the benefits. And I'm like, you know what? I'm at the point where I'm willing to try this. And I combined these two peptides together. And dude, within 2 weeks, I could not believe my sciatica was alleviated. It was
wow.
insane. I was at like 80, 90% better. And I was like, the proof is in the frickin' pudding. Why did I wait so long? You
Yeah,
know? And obviously results can vary. So that was my personal experience though. And I was just like, wow, you don't hear about this in our modern world, but like I just went through it right in front of my own eyes. And it was like a miracle, you
that's
know?
beautiful.
Yeah. So I think there's a lot of potential with the world of peptides, and you know much more than I do. And I think it's really cool.
Yeah, I'm just starting to learn as well, and I'm just fascinated by them too.
Yeah,
So
totally.
that's awesome, man. To
Yeah,
feel
man.
that good.
Yeah. I don't want to avoid your question. I think you asked me what my least favorite thing about being a business owner is, and I'd probably say that is juggling a lot of tasks that you don't want to, you know, overseeing
Okay.
all the projects. Like sometimes you just want to do the fun stuff, and sometimes you get in your own way of like, you know, you've got five priorities to do, and you're like picking the most fun when the other four really should take priority. And it's really hard to be disciplined and say, man, I should probably do that thing that I really don't want to and is boring and mundane, but you know, every day consists of those things we don't want to do, you know,
Yeah.
making your bed, vacuuming the floor, all that crap around the house. Like you neglect it too long, it's going to get a little gross and you know
Yeah.
it,
The same thing will
but you got
happen
to
in your
do it.
business. Neglect those important things you got to do. Just doing the fun things and you won't
Yeah.
be where you need to be. Man,
Yeah.
I think about so we call those KIPs, key income producing activities.
Okay.
Like most important things, there's a law called Pareto's law. You've probably heard of that. 20% of your effort will give you 80, like 20% of activities will give you 80% of the results. So focusing on those. Um, and we do tend to sometimes skip those things if they're not as fun or have the tendency to skip those types of things. So what do you like, how do you stay focused then with all of these activities on making sure that you do the things that move your business forward?
Well, I just wrote that down, by the way. That's a good reminder. KPIs, key income producing. I haven't heard that in a while.
Yeah.
Thank you. Um, well, sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I don't do the things I need to do. Just
That's what we need to hear. People need to hear
right.
that.
Yeah, I'm calling myself out on being a human being right there. But once again, having a good group of people, like I've got a couple people under me with Instashred. I've got a business partner. I've got a wife that's extremely supportive. So them being able to put me in check or leaning on them saying, "Hey, I'm really working on this week. I would love to, hear from you twice throughout the week when you get the time to just check in and see if I'm on track." Little things like that. I've even got for the viewers that are watching, I've got a little sand timer. This is a 30-minute
Oh,
sand
cool.
timer. So it's
That's
as simple as
awesome.
flipping this sucker over and sticking to my time blocks. If I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it diligently for 30 minutes straight and not entertain any other distractions. Don't pull your emails up. Don't grab your phone. Put it on Do Not Disturb or in the other room and just do the task that you said you're going to do. Especially working from home when the whole home is right there. Oh, I'm gonna go do the dishes or something. Like, no, do,
Distract yourself with something not as
yeah,
important.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it takes discipline. It's tough sometimes. I still struggle with it till this day, definitely.
Yeah, I definitely struggle with that as well. I've never seen a sand timer like that.
Oh,
That's
really?
awesome. Set a timer on my phone, but
Yeah, yeah,
one could then set their timer on their phone and then go get distracted on their phone trying to set the timer. So I think that's a cool tool.
yeah, yeah,
So I think that's a let's digest that just a little bit. So social medias can be social media. You talked about moving into the online space, like you saw that opportunity, and it's given you this life where you have your own business, you employ, you have some people that work with you.
hmm
But social media could also be someone's downfall. So
yeah,
talk to me. How do you, aside from your time blocking that you do with your little timer, what advice could you give to someone that's like, I want to build a business online, but I don't want to be on social media all the time, or I don't want to be someone that's stuck to my phone all the time.
yeah. Yeah, I think that's a big fat excuse, right? I mean, there's so many ways to skin a cat these days. I mean, there's so much success in so many different realms. Like, there's a way, I mean, if you really look at the world, every single thing is a business. Everything that's
Mhm.
manufactured, created, like it's all something that's being sold to a different, and it's just this big downline, right? And so I think we mentioned it earlier, like if you don't exactly know how to go about what you want to do and you maybe want to do it without social media or you want to make it a side gig, find a coach, find someone who can take you under their wing and kind of help minimize the trial and error, right? That helps a ton. And every year I make sure I get one or two coaches in an area that I'm trying to become better in because I know I'll learn it so much quicker than if I just muster up and try to do it myself
Yeah.
you know. And you're a great coach. I consider myself a great coach. Like coaches are great. When we're obsessed and we're into what we do, we become more of an expert and we can show someone all the things that worked for us and all the things that didn't work for us. And so can you build a business without social media? Absolutely. There's tons of examples. So I don't even think you can deny that, oh, it's not possible nowadays. Come on,
Yeah.
you know.
And I think there's a huge difference too between creating and using social media to connect with or serve somebody and using
hmm
social media to just consume content,
Oh, wow. Well said. Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
So
yeah. I forget that most people are consumers nowadays. I haven't been a
everybody, well,
consumer.
you're in the business building mindset where you're a content creator, you're adding value, but the
Yeah,
majority of people pick up their phone mindlessly, start watching stuff, and then an
yeah,
hour passes.
yeah. It's kind of cool. I've actually got a member of our team that does all our consumption for us. So we want to stay with the trends, no doubt. Like, there's a lot of things that are changing on the fly as far as like what's hot, what's interesting online. But I don't do it. Like I'm not going to take my time and get sucked into those social media rabbit holes. And so there's a member of our team that actually takes a certain amount of time a week to kind of analyze like what's going on in the social media world right now. Is there any trends we can capitalize on and have some fun with? But it's not my role because honestly, I went through that bad rut in my life where I was just on my phone too much. It's like you're at a get together with friends or something and it's like you get bored for a second, you immediately grab your phone and you pull up one of those apps mindlessly. It's like subconscious and you catch yourself like, what am I even doing right now? I don't know.
Yeah.
So it's like learning to turn on do not disturb or like set a timer with those apps or like turn off the buzzing feature that so that you're not, gravitating towards pulling your phone out. So I had to get rid of that habit because it became a bad one for me. So I don't want it to come back.
Yeah.
So I just refused to be a consumer and it's worked fine.
That's a great point for anybody listening to this. Write that down. Like I refuse to be a consumer. You're
Mm,
working on building a business,
great point.
use it, like be very intentional about what you're doing. So, and this is for anybody watching, I built a seven-figure a year income,
Woo.
probably using being on social media no more than 2 hours a day on, let's say, Facebook app. And
Yeah.
it wasn't scrolling, it was like intentionally writing to somebody, talking with them about their goals, helping them get connected with a solution for their goals, and maybe 15 minutes of like creating some sort of content to add value to an audience or grow my audience. And
Yeah.
the rest of it was Zoom calls, phone calls while walking. And so I did that working a 12-hour day. So if someone's out there like, I see you're on social media all the time.
Mm,
Um, we're really not. Someone like you and me that's running a business are not on social media all the time. It may look like it because I put up a piece of content every single day, but it's like
yeah.
I don't put it up and then I'm on my phone all day seeing who likes it, who comments. Like I post it up and that phone goes just like you said, it's on disturb. I can pull my phone up right now and there's no notifications. We've been here what for 45 minutes? And all there is a Life 360 to know where my daughter's at and her speed. That's it. Nothing
Right.
else. No, and and so if you can just kind of master that like Tyler has, it's going to be game changer for your energy levels and for everything.
Yeah.
Um,
Wisdom.
so I'm going to ask you a question. So someone might be listening to this like, okay, this is cool. Like Tyler, like he was a personal trainer. He moved into the online space. Like what day is it? It's Tuesday. He's at home. You can see his wife walking around in the background of this home. Like, and they might be at a job right now or sitting in the gym and they're just like, man, I want to be at home. I want to be more present doing something that I love too. So
Yeah.
what piece of advice would you give someone who's interested in starting their own business?
Well, one, get started. If it's pulling you enough, like just get started. Take the first step. And in my opinion, that first step really should be getting a coach because most of the time it's like your hands are in the air, like, where do I begin? And that's the easiest way to procrastinate is not even knowing the first step to take. You wake up tomorrow and you just get sucked back into the routine and there you are not doing it again. So get frickin' started. Um, and yeah, something else there was something on my mind with that. What was your actual question? It's
So someone wants to start a business.
yeah,
They see you living this life, have your business for 7 years. You're at home right now. What
yeah.
advice would you give them? They're like, I want to start, but I
Mm.
just don't know what to do. So number one, you
Oh,
said get a coach.
yep, yep. Number two would be you're gonna have to make some sacrifices. Like I was extremely blessed to where I started this when I hadn't built a life or overextended myself. I think a lot of people, and this is not everyone, but they have their mortgage, they have a car payment, they have the kids, and so they've got to pay for everything that they've got, right? And so they've got their job to make ends meet. Going all in on your side business is just not realistic. You can't just drop everything. You got to take care of your family. But you're simply going to have to put in the hours. You're going to have to come home after a long day at work and suck it up and get it done and spend a few extra hours diligently building that thing on the side. And it's going to be way tougher than someone who can wake up in the morning and is all in and is nice and fresh and can take on these tasks first thing in the day, maybe like yourself or me.
Yeah.
And so, you can't throw yourself a pity party when you're in that circumstance. Well, I'm 40 years old and I got a full-time job and two kids. Tough. I mean, it's great. Like I hear you, but it's still an excuse. And better yet, someone else is doing it that's in your same position,
Yeah.
or they might even have eight kids and they're doing it.
Hey, that's my friend Steve Hatch. He's got eight, man, and he's
Really?
bigger than
Good
I
for
am.
him,
Yeah.
man. That's badass. And those are the kind of people that are inspiring. Like those are fun people to follow because it's like, man, they've gone against the grain and look at them go, you know?
They're doing.
Yeah. So yeah, you got to get started, get some help, and there's going to be some sacrifices. There's
Yeah.
going to be discipline associated, and it's going to suck sometimes, but it's usually worth it.
Absolutely worth it. I can attest that it's so worth it, the life that I get to live, that you get to live, where I wake up and my main thing today, I was like, I can't wait to do this podcast with Tyler. I'm gonna do
Really? Oh, come
workout
on.
this morning.
You're
I'm gonna
too
work
kind.
out. I'm gonna do an hour of my business. I did like an hour and a half and then this, and then I'm done. The kids, my wife's in Salt
Wow.
Lake with her family. I'll have my 5 kids the rest of the night, and that's my day's work. And it's a
Yeah, that's
beautiful
so
life, but there were sacrifices. When I started, like you, I had a mortgage, I had 3 kids, I had a wife working at nights,
yeah.
and I played video games, drank a little beer, played video games, and played softball twice a week. And I quit playing softball and I quit playing video games.
Mm.
And every single night was working on that business when I put my little girls to bed.
Wow.
It's so
Yeah.
worth it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. Do you mind if I ask you a question?
Sure.
All right. I think one of the coolest things of following your journey a little closer the past few months is how much adversity you've faced through what you've been through with the business shift, but also the fact that you were building your dream home in the middle of it and you had this big decision like, dude, do I abort mission on this thing and
Yeah.
go the safe route, or do I stick with it?
Yeah.
And I honestly didn't even think you'd do it, but you stuck with it.
Yeah. Do you want me to tell you the story of why?
Yeah.
So every single day, I have the chills right now. I haven't talked about this on the podcast because I interview other people, but I write in a journal and I write out I put 3 things I'm grateful for. I do this first thing in the morning and I write out my vision. And my vision for the past few years has been, it's like I'm sitting, like I talk about that we live in that dream home, and it's middle of January, it's -10 degrees outside, and I'm in the pool with the kids and my wife. All these beautiful, like I write out and new things come every day. I walk my daughters out the walkout basement on the day of their wedding with a line of chairs on each side and the river in the background and beautiful dancing and reception. Like I write that stuff out every day.
Mm.
So when I lost my business, I don't know if you know this, but we're building that dream home, but we're also building a $1.9 million home in Park City right now too. So I have 2 dream homes. Or well,
Wow.
one's a rental, one's a dream home. So when
And
I
that,
lost my business, like it's the math, it doesn't work
right.
to afford both of those homes. So the first 2 days, I didn't even think about what I'm going to do for making money. My first 2 days of not sleeping and crying on the floor was like, I got to sell these homes because to get a loan you got to put like 30% into. So I was like,
Oh
if I
yeah.
could just sell these homes and get that money back, I'll be okay. And
Oh
that's
yeah.
that's one of the things that my friend Steve Hatch helped me with. He's like, man, when you sell that home, like you could literally, like he walked me through it. He's like, if you get the money back from both of those multi-million-dollar homes, you could live on 100+ thousand a year for the next 18 years
Yep.
and not ever do any more work, and then
Right.
retire at 59 with your retirement account.
Right.
You've been faithful in building. And so that gave me some ease. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do that. Gabby and I made the decision. And we're like, okay, we're going to sell both of these
Hmm.
and take that money, and we're going to have more abundance than we ever imagined. We're going to live in this home that we live in right now, which is beautiful. We're just going to chill out. Like we're just going to simplify our life and just kind of just
Hmm.
be with the kids and not really working.
Wow.
And we came to that piece. And man, dude, Tyler, I went to every Thursday we go on a date, Gabby and I do, and we go for the past 2 years, it's go meet with the builders at the house and make all the decisions. I go
Okay.
there and I came to peace with that, making that decision. We're going to sell the house. I found 2 buyers. I talked to my bank, I talked to my builder, he put it on pause. I get there and my wife, or I get there and I felt like a knife was stabbed in my heart
Mm.
because it was like, and because I came to peace with selling it, but then it was like, oh, I've walked through it for 2 years. I've walked through it in my mind for years.
Yeah.
Visualize it. So I was like confused. So here's what happened. We go on this cruise, Gabby and I did. It was already paid for. Or I wouldn't have gone.
Uh-huh.
And I had this dream at night. It was the second night. We're in the interior cabin, so it's pitch dark in that cruise room. My wife's
Okay.
still sleeping. I'm following my routine still. I get up early. I had already decided to launch this new business just a few days earlier.
Hmm.
And I have this dream, and I'm sitting on the back deck of that dream home, just like I write in my journal. My wife and I are sitting in this rocking chair, and we're sitting in these 2 rocking chairs, and we're just laughing and talking about how beautiful the life was we created. And I see these kids, our kids running around the backyard playing, but I see grandkids. And like I'd never in my visualization visualized grandkids
Mm.
just like hanging out with my own kids. And so I wake up from this dream and I'm doing my morning journaling and I'm just confused. Like, am I supposed to be writing? Like, because I've been writing for years about this visualizing this dream home. Now I decided I'm going to sell it. And so I'm
Yeah.
like, just in prayer and meditation. I'm like, what does this mean? And I just felt very strongly, just like words spoken to me of like, I just wanted to test and see if you are okay of letting everything material in your life go. That wasn't the most important thing in your life.
Wow.
And then it was like I gave you that dream to let you know that it's still possible for you. Like you
Whoa.
don't have to give up on it. And so, dude, I it was early, it was like 6:30, but like 8:30 came around and I called my builder. I was like, keep building, bro. I was like, we're gonna send it. And I made a
Dang.
decision. I was like, I'm gonna figure this out and it's still possible. So that's where it came about, where I'm like, we're gonna still gonna do it.
Wow. Yeah.
Sorry, that was a long answer, but
No, that's a little bit
that's the
goosebumps.
story because people were like, I thought you were building the house, and then all of a sudden we're not, or we are, and there
No,
we are.
that's so cool, dude. You are such an inspiration for like it's so easy to just listen to that story and be like, oh, that's really cool. But like to kind of like put yourself in those feels, even just a little bit,
Yeah.
that's a tough decision. Like how easy is it to just fold in that circumstance? Like take the safe
Give
route, like,
up
man, a
in a way.
full on cushion, six figures for 18 years. Like I could F up real bad and we'd be okay. But like you still press the gas. Like that is
Yeah.
so cool. I live for that, man. And
I
I bet
think
a
there's
lot of your
some,
viewers
I think
listen to
there's
that
something to
too.
unpack there that people need to know too, is to live within your means.
Of course. Yeah,
Um, because that
100.
wouldn't have been as possible if we hadn't have done just been real smart and like, dude, my wife, like if we're like, hey, we need a couple of things, we run to the Dollar Tree. Like I was
Yeah.
making seven figures, we go to the Dollar Tree. I go to Once Upon a Child. I go to Uptown. Like my new snowboarding coat I got like 4 years ago is from
Yeah.
Uptown Cheapskate. I bought it for like 35 bucks. It's like a $300 snowboarding jacket. And I freaking love it. But we've lived our life like that for 15 years.
Yeah.
I don't need the
I
newest
love that.
truck.
Yeah.
I don't need the new iPhone. And
Right.
so just by being like that, like it was panic in the moment, but in all reality, I could sell my cabin on the lake, which is one of our rentals. It's paid for, and I could finish building our dream home in cash. Like so there were options there because of the way that we took care of the
Yeah.
gifts that we had been blessed with the 15 years of hard work. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, okay,
Yeah.
we're gonna get back to you on this one, Tyler, but we'll
You
wrap it
sure?
up. I know you have a meeting to get to, and we're almost at an hour, and that's kind of where we stick to with these.
All right.
But I want to ask you, where do you see yourself? You're 31. Where do you see yourself 5 years from now? What do you see your life looking
I
like?
love it. Yeah, that's awesome, dude. First of all, I've attended every Tony Robbins event there is, and I literally have a piece of paper up here from Tony Robbins Wealth Mastery, and it's like a 5 year plan. Like if you keep growing at this rate, it's so cool, and it fills these different buckets of your life, and it's just like the coolest thing to look at as like a 5 year vision. So that was so cool that you asked that. But
That's awesome.
I won't just touch on financials. I in 5 years, I picture myself in a very similar place as I am now. Very fulfilled, minimal stress, great health, great relationships, and living that balance that I touched on earlier. It's like, man, I'm gonna keep building my future. The whole idea of retirement for me, like I'm so thankful to say it like this, but I don't think I'll ever want to truly retire. I'm always gonna want to do something and give back in some way. If it gets to the point where it's simply just philanthropy, so be it. But like when I look at people and I pay attention to those that are truly retired, they're pretty bored. It's not like they're unhappy, but like they don't really have much going for them. There's not a big compelling purpose. And I'm always going to have that. And so I'm blessed to say I'm there. And in 5 years, I want to stay there.
Yeah.
But it's not easy. Like you take your foot off the gas and you start coasting a little bit or making the wrong decisions and you could fall off that wagon very easily. Everyone's had a health setback, or like falling off their fitness grind or maybe gotten themselves in a little bit of debt. for whatever reason, but it's like you gotta catch those bad habits sooner than later and get back to where you want to be. So that you can rest your head on that pillow at the end of the night, just feeling good about yourself. No worries.
Yeah.
So, wow. Thank you for asking that question. Honestly, it,
Yeah.
it it reminds me to give myself credit because in the past I never did that enough. I never gave myself enough credit. We're always our biggest, worst critic. And I realized, like, Tyler, you got to speak positive words to yourself sometimes, man. Don't be afraid to like challenge yourself and push yourself, but like be proud of who you are, what you've built, and who
Yeah.
you've become, and
Yeah,
keep
you
going.
have to celebrate that, or else you're always pushing the goalpost a little bit further out and
Yeah.
never experience
Yeah.
happiness and joy and gratitude of like, hey, I'm here, I'm living life and I'm feeling good.
Yeah, man. You said it earlier, like living within your means. Like we always want to keep up with the Joneses sometimes, but it's so nice to humble yourself and realize, like, man, I can be so happy with so little. Like a couple of years ago, I think it was during COVID, I challenged myself. I'm like, I'm not going to spend any money this whole month. Nothing except like recurring bills.
Yeah.
And it was fun. Like I embraced the challenge. It was a good time. Like, can I still be happy without, sometimes Bree and I, my wife, will go on trips and like let's stay at the Motel 6 this time. And it's fun.
Yeah.
It's like, but sometimes people set the standard and they, oh, I can't go back from that. It's like, why not? It could be just as fun slumming it as balling out.
Yeah.
So,
And when you don't really care what others think about you, it's life is just so much more freeing. Just to
there you go. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was a question with the dream house. Someone asked me once. I was like, it's like, let's say, like I'm unafraid to like move forward with it because I was like, what if in 2 years it's just like too much for us to clean and maintain, or the
Yeah.
business doesn't go like I want.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'll just sell it. I don't like.
There you
I'm not gonna
go.
be someone that's like, oh, why did Scottie sell that house? Things
Yeah.
must not be going so. Like, I don't care. Like,
Yeah,
I
buddy,
just
man. I
I just want
love
to
that.
live. I just want to be healthy. I want to have a great relationship with my wife and kids, and
Oh, I
spend time with
love
them.
that.
That's what's important to me. So,
Dude, that's powerful. Yeah, you got to assess your risk. Talk about good connections. Are one of our financial advisors. He's so good at that. Like when I call him with like a big opportunity, I'm like, I don't know, it's kind of scary. I don't know if I should do it. He always goes to like, well, let's figure out what the worst case scenario is. Let's say it doesn't work and everything goes in the wrong direction. Like worst case scenario is this. Are you okay to accept that? And if the answer is yes, then he's like, go freaking get it. Go do
oh, I
it. Because if
love that.
worst case scenario comes, you're still okay. I
Yeah,
love that. Like it's just like the risk tolerance. Assess the risk, and if like you're okay with the worst possible result, chances are it probably won't turn out worst case.
yeah,
Freaking go for it. You got all the peace of
yeah,
mind in the world.
dude. That's a beautiful way to end this out. If the worst case is not going to be that bad, freaking go for it. Quoted
I
by
love it.
Tyler.
Yeah, you
Dude.
got me pumped up this afternoon, man. Who needs caffeine? He's got to get
That's
on
right. Well, dude, I'm so excited that we had you on here today, and I want to just say thank you so much. Like I can just feel your energy that you love life, and that you
that.
truly live and embody what you teach
Oh,
in what you do. So that might be the most important lesson to me, interviewing you and chatting with you today, is just embodying what you believe and what you're sharing with the world. And
oh,
so,
well, I
thank you for
appreciate it.
being that person, Tyler.
Yeah, man. And thanks for having me on. I feel the same way about you. So thanks for being a
Awesome.
leader and inspiring me as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Tyler.
All right, Scotty.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Season 2, and we hope that you enjoyed the content we shared with you today. We're here to remind you that your family is your most important work on earth, help you feel better, and learn how to earn more income for your family. If you've enjoyed this episode, please leave a positive review and share it with a friend. It's time to level up.